What's going on, guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now, in this series, I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode. But before we go on, I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic, which is very important, and the player ratings and potentials may vary depending on what database you're using and how they perform for you during the season. You don't have to follow all the tips. This is really just a set of guidelines to give you a hand if you're stuck for ideas and want some suggestions on what players you could sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those of you out there who may be new to the game and just want some help, or for those of you out there who may be stuck for ideas on what players you could sign for a certain team in career mode. Yes, Who to Sign For is back today. I'm so excited. It's been 2 months since my last one with Red Bull Leipzig. This isn't really a series which I ever intended to keep uploading on a regular basis and keep it on a sort of a regime, if you will. So I knew I was going to do like 2 or 3 per week. It was just when I felt like it. But it's been 2 months since my last one. I felt like I kind of needed something different on my channel. So I thought, why not bring back a series, which I really like doing, where I try and give you guys some tips from time to time. So today, we are going to take a look at Barcelona. Yes, Barcelona, the Spanish giants, one of the best sides in the world. I looked at teams I hadn't done in this series this year, and I couldn't believe I hadn't done Barcelona yet. So because of that, I thought I would try my hand with Barcelona. And of course, Barcelona in the week were thrashed by Paris Saint-Germain by 4-0 in the Champions League. But despite that being the case, they still are one of the best teams in the world. Everyone knows that, and their team is absolutely fantastic. Now, Barcelona start off with a £78.2 million budget. It's a 5-star team, obviously, and it's a really, really awesome team with so many great players, a nice mix of youth and experience too. And in today's episode, I'll try my best to give you some good tips and show you what players I would recommend bringing to the club to make them even better. So you see the squad report right here. You can see the players they currently have. It is an amazing team, no doubt about that. One of the strongest clubs in Europe. And of course, the objectives with Barcelona are to win everything in the first season. So the Champions League, La Liga, and Copa del Rey too. Now, you could probably do that in the first season without making any new signings anyway, but that would be no fun, right? If you made no signings, and this video will make no sense. So with £78.2 million, I'll show you what players to bring in and how to improve on this really great side. And now the first thing I'll say is there are a few players that are currently loaned out right now, including Thomas Vermaelen, the Belgian centre-back, and also Christian Teo as well. I wouldn't recommend recalling any of these guys right here. Possibly the former Arsenal centre-back Vermaelen, who's currently on loan at Roma right now. At 30 years old, he's not really going to grow any ratings whilst he's out there in Italy right now loving life. So you might want to recall him just to sell him, or you can just keep him out there and not pay his wages. Really, that's up to you. I would, personally recommend trying to recall him and sell him if you can, because at 79 overall, if you can't sell him, it'd still be a decent cover player. But if you're not really fussed about getting the extra cash, then may as well keep him out there and just let him stay in Italy for a year. As for contracts, quite a few players have their deals that come at the end of the year. There are only 2 players I would recommend giving a new deal to, though. That is Suarez, the goalkeeper, who grows to a 77, could be a decent squad goalkeeper for you in the future, but definitely this guy as well, Carlos Elena. If you're not going to give Suarez a new contract, give Elena a new contract. 69 overall, central midfielder, 18 years old, and at full potential hits 84. A very good young talented midfielder. Don't let that guy go. Give him a new deal, tie him down to a long-term deal, let the guy stay here at Barcelona. He's got some great potential. Do not let him go. That's the only player I would say that is mandatory to give a new contract to if you don't want to give one to Suarez, and I'd recommend letting everyone else go. But for new signings with Barcelona, where would I look at bringing in new talents? Well, I would personally say that despite the fact their team is really, really good and you can easily win the treble in the first teams without new signings, I would recommend looking to strengthen and bolstering the back line. My number one target would be this guy right here, Aymeric Laporta, Athletic Bilbao centre-back, who I do believe was actually rumoured to be signing for Barcelona a couple of years ago. Very, very talented young defender. He's French. He's only 22 years old, but he's already 84 overall. The guy gets to 88 at his peak as well. He would be a great player to come and sit as centre-back for you. He's a left-footed player. You can get him for around £35 million, which is about $7.5 million over his valuation. But again, at just 22 years old and already 84 overall, he's good enough to go into your first 11, and he's going to continue to grow ratings as well and just get better and better as the years go by. So definitely give Laporta a contract. I think he's definitely worth signing, and I'll tell you what to do with Mascherano and Mathieu as well, 2 current centre-backs here with Barcelona, in just a moment's time. Here's a clue: sell them. That's not really a clue, that's just telling you what to do. But anyway, I'd also recommend looking to sell Vidal as well. well. He's a 26-year-old, 76 overall right back that can also play further forward in the right side of midfield. A handy squad player to have, Vidal, no doubt about it, but I would recommend signing a new right back, and I'll show you my number one target in just a moment's time. So I'll definitely let him go if you can get a bit of money, and Sergio Roberto is better anyway, whilst also being younger too and having more potential. And also Mascherano, I did say just a moment ago, look to sell this guy. I would recommend it. Mascherano's been at Barcelona for a very long time. He's an amazing player. He's one of the most intellectual, I was going to say. Well, I guess that's right. He's one of the most intelligent players in the game. I really do believe that. I've watched him play so many times for Liverpool and Barcelona. He reads the game so well, but I would definitely recommend selling the guy regardless. He's a centre-back that can also play a bit further forward too, but he's quite short, and on FIFA that can be a problem when dealing with crosses into the box. So I'd recommend selling Mascherano if you can. 32 years old, he's only going to get worse. I would say let the guy go. Once Laporta comes in, he's going to take Mascherano's place anyway, so I look to sell Mascherano, get as much cash for him as possible. That will pay for a little bit of Laporta's deal. You're basically making the team younger. You're not taking a step back in rating because they're both 84 overall, and Laporta has more potential as well. So sell Mascherano, bring in Laporta. That's a piece of business there, which I think should be mandatory for you. But as for a new right back, like I said a moment ago, sell Vidal. I would recommend bringing in this right back here to take the first choice right back slot ahead of Sergio Roberto. Serge Aurier. Now I know some of you guys that have been watching this series so far are probably sitting there thinking, oh my god, here we go again. When's David Alaba going to come round as well? But I would still recommend signing Serge Aurier, because even though he is one of the most common signings in career mode, I do believe he's an awesome player, and he's the best right back you can sign at the start of the game. He's one of the best right backs, and in my opinion, the best right back. He starts off 82 overall. He can get to 87 at his full potential, and possibly outgrow that too with some training and good form as well. He'll cost you a decent amount of money, but I'd say he's definitely worth it. He's a physical monster, Serge Aurier. Absolutely fantastic. A great right back, and I'll definitely recommend bringing the guy to the new camp. So Serge Aurier to join Laporta as two new signings for the back line. Like I said, try and bolster that back line. Really do try and improve it, and also make it younger as well. And also, I said a moment ago, just like Mascherano, try and sell Jeremy Mathieu as well. He's 32 years old. He's 81 overall too, so a handy squad player to have if you want to keep him, but he's only going to get worse. So I should say you may as well sell him whilst you still can. Get as much scratch for him as possible before he starts to decrease in rating. And also don't forget as well, he's on over 100 grand a week. You can do better than Mathieu, no doubt about that. So look to sell Mathieu, look to sell Mascherano, bring in Laporta, and also as well, you can see with Sergio Aurier here, we agreed a £22 million deal with PSG, which is £3 million over his valuation, but at 23 years old, 82 overall, I'd say he's worth every single penny. So Sergio Aurier, definitely a target for Barcelona. I would say he'd be a great signing to play right back for you for many years to come. The Ivorian is a physical monster. Do not pass up the chance to buy this guy in the first summer transfer window if you can. So Sergio Aurier and Laporta are two signings I would recommend, but we're not done there. In this episode, we make loads and loads of signings, including this guy right here as well, Angel Correa. Now, if you watched my Hamburg save last year on my channel, you'd know all about this guy. 79 overall, 21-year-old striker, very awesome Argentine player. Currently playing for Atletico Madrid right now. Now, you might think that this is a pointless type of deal because Luis Suarez is one of the deadliest strikers in Europe, and of course, he'll still be your out-and-out striker in the first season. You got Paco Alcacer on the bench as well, but I would still recommend this guy as a third-choice striker because he grows to 88 when he hits his full potential. Now, Suarez is great, but he is coming towards his 30s, and eventually he will start to decrease in rating, despite how good form he'll be in, because that's just how FIFA works. Paco Alcacer is good, 79 overall, 85 potential, but you might want someone with a bit more potential. Correa has that, 88 potential, great striker, and again, I've had experience with the guy in my Hamburg save last year. He's an absolute monster, and one of the best things about Correa too is he can play a little bit deeper in the cam role, and he can also play on the wings as well. He's a great striker, and I definitely recommend him as your third choice. He'll cost you around £19 million, which is a little over his valuation, 5.5 million, but again, he's 21 years old, already 79 overall, and as a third choice striker, he's just going to grow quietly in the background, and he'll be your out-and-out successor for Luis Suarez when the Uruguayan eventually starts to decrease in ratings, and Correa has been waiting in the wings for many years, and he's ready to step in as Barcelona's new number 9. So definitely sign Correa if you can, £19 million, and again, a really great young talented striker who I would recommend bringing to the new camp. So Correa in, Laporta in, Aurier in, and the signings don't stop there either. Obviously, this is Who to Sign For series. I tend tend to make as many as I possibly can with the budget I'm given. I would definitely recommend this guy as well for Barcelona. Now, Barcelona have got some great players, a lot of depth as well, but actually not too many wide midfielders and wingers. But Samu Castillejo is a really good young talented Spaniard, and I would say he's a great signing for Barcelona if you can pick him up. He's 21 years old, but already 81 overall. He's valued at £20 million, and he grows to 88 at his peak. He's an awesome young talent in the game. The one problem with Castillejo is that he has medium-high work rates. Now, some people don't like that. I personally don't mind players with high defensive work rates anywhere on the pitch. Some people don't like that, so you might be put off by Castillejo, but I'd still recommend it regardless. He's got some great stats, exactly in the areas you'd want for a wide midfielder. Really, really quick, good dribbling, good ball control, and again, he's only 21 years old and grows 7 ratings anyway to an 88 at his full potential. You can get him for around £24 million. That's the deal I negotiated with Villarreal, and again, with his range of stats, knowing he's only going to get better as the years go by as well, this guy coming off the bench, an injection of pace late on in games, he'd be a really good signing. Once again, the high defensive work rate might put you off, but I, personally speaking, wouldn't really worry too much about that. He's still got all the stats in the right areas, and that's the most important thing. Now, for more signings, I would also recommend this guy as well. Now, funny enough, in the week after the PSG-Barcelona game, Marco Verratti was asked about Barcelona, and he said he was totally fine playing for PSG right now, but he really would be a great fit for Barcelona. That's why I thought I'd target this guy in this Who to Sign For series, because he's one of the best midfielders you can sign on the game, and he'll complement Barcelona's side perfectly. 23-year-old Italian central midfielder, playing for PSG right now. Now, he's valued at a decent amount of money, and it'll cost you quite a bit, but I would recommend selling Arda Turan if you can. As you can see here as we sign Castillejo, Bayern Munich putting a bid for Arda Turan of £30 million. We get £35 million for the Turkish midfielder. Arda Turan, the former Atletico man, is a really decent player, but he's 29 years old and he's not going to get any better. I would recommend selling him and bringing in Verratti, because Verratti is 1 rating higher. He won't cost you like an astronomical amount, even though PSG do state here they want £72 million, but he is a step up from Turan, and he's 6 years younger as well, and he grows to 90 at his full potential. Now, I think I got a deal with PSG accepted at £60 million. You might get a little luckier than me though and get him for a bit cheaper, but yeah, I think it was £60 million in total I paid for Verratti. But £60 million for Verratti when you sell Turan for £35 million, I would say is a pretty decent bit of business there, because again, you're getting a player who's younger and better with more potential as well, and he suits Barcelona's style absolutely perfectly. So once you sold Turan for, again, around £35 million, you can probably get a little bit more than that, actually, to be fair, but I didn't want to rock the boat. So you can bring in Verratti, and again, with him getting to 90 potentially at his full peak, he's got some unbelievable stats already, just 23 years old. Imagine the guy at 90 overall. He would be fantastic. And again, as a bit of a, not a realistic signing per se, this series doesn't really deal in terms of realism, but I would say he'd complement Barcelona's style perfectly. He's a great midfielder. He's got some great stats, 4-star weak foot, 4-star skills as well. Just a perfect midfielder, and he would be a great signing for Barcelona. And even though it will cost £60 million, I would say he'll be worth every single penny. But for more signings with Barcelona, I would also recommend this guy as well. Now, if you weren't keen on Castillejo, this would be the guy you would sign instead, or alongside, up to you really. Yaqui Williams, Athletic Bilbao winger, right winger, he's 20 years old, starts off 22 years old, starts off 80 overall. He's valued at £17 million. You won't have to pay around £31 million that Bilbao asked for me. You can probably get him for the low £20 million. I think we agreed a deal of £24 million in total for Yaqui Williams. He's a really, really awesome player, and one of the best things about Williams is that he can play right wing, left wing, and striker as well. So a great player to play up top as a lone, out-and-out striker if you want to use his pace and utilize his pace when going forward. He's got 4-star skills as well, and he's a really awesome player. And again, with Castillejo's high defensive work rate, some people may not want to sign him because of that. Yaqui Williams doesn't have that problem. He's got high medium, I do believe, and he's got some great stats as well. So Williams, a great player to bring in, and again, for £24 million, I would definitely recommend it instead of Castillejo or alongside. In this series, in this episode, I should say, it was alongside, but if you sign him instead, you won't be missing out on too much. Both players are similar ability, and although Williams has 2 ratings less in potential, he'd still be a monster at 86 overall, which is his peak. As for sales as well, you've seen a couple of sales already. I'd recommend selling this guy too. Jordi Masip, who you may notice at the start of the episode, has his contract up come the end of the year. Don't give him a new deal. He doesn't really grow too many ratings, and he's not really be worth keeping here at Barcelona. So sell him, get as much for him as you can, and let the guy go whilst you still can get a bit of money for him. And also maybe bring in a third choice goalkeeper as well. Ruben Blanco would be a pretty decent signing for that job. 21-year-old Spanish goalkeeper, currently playing for Celta Vigo right now. I didn't get a full scout report on the guy, sadly, before deadline day, so I kind of messed this one up. But as of right now, on the current database, he's a 74 rated goalkeeper with 83 potential. Now, as I said there, I didn't have a scout report on the guy, so I didn't know his true valuation before I signed him. But I paid £6.5 million for the guy. You probably want to pay that much for him. He's a really decent young goalkeeper though, and again, at 21 years old, he'll grow quietly in the background like Angel Correa for you, and he won't become like one of the best goalkeepers in the world. 83 is his potential, but he's still going to be pretty decent. He'll be a very decent deputy for whoever's your number one in a few years' time, like Ter Stegen, for example, who's probably the more likely choice for your number one for Barcelona in a few years' time. But again, as a backup goalkeeper to grow to 83 overall, he'll be a safe pair of hands as a second or third choice goalkeeper. He won't cost you much money from the start. I'd recommend bringing him in if you have the scratch left over. Otherwise, don't bother. This one, not really a mandatory signing. I had the money, so I thought I'd buy him. But again, you don't really need him in the first season when your two goalkeepers are currently Ter Stegen and Sillerson as well. But I had the money, so I thought, why not, right? But anyway, in the end, I spent £190 million rebuilding this Barcelona side, bringing in new players. 7 new players signed in total. And like all my who to sign for, really, the focus was selling on the older players, bringing in younger talents to replace them as well. And you'll see the Barcelona team, once I've sort of worked my magic with them, you can see right here, only 2 players going to the first 11 from the 7 I signed. Those are Laporta and Sergio Aurier. But again, bolstering the backline was important to me. And also Verratti for the bench as well, as your long-term successor for Iniesta, Castillejo too. And then you got Williams and Correa in the resis alongside Ruben Blanco as well. So those are all the transfers I did with Barcelona then. And again, lots and lots of money spent transforming this Barcelona side. £190 million spent in total. But I'd say all the signings would be worth doing. Again, maybe 1 or 2 you can do without, such as Ruben Blanco, such as Yaqui Williams. But I would still recommend them all. If you had the money left over, they'd all be really great fits for this Barcelona side for many years to come. So as per usual, we simulate to the end of the season with Barcelona and see how they will get on once I've made my new signings. Once again, the objectives were to win everything, so to win a treble. Now, they did win the league. They finished 10 points ahead of Real Madrid and only lost 1 game in the entire season. So the league was definitely a success, a great campaign in La Liga for Barcelona. So 1 out of 3 completed. They also won the Supercopa at the start of the season as well against Sevilla, 6-2 over 2 legs. Not that that's really important, as it's not an expectation from the board. But they also won the Copa del Rey as well. So 2 out of 3 excellent stuff to beat Real Madrid in the final on penalty. So a lucky escape there, but I managed to do it. But the Champions League was quite an interesting one. They were supposed to win that as well. PSG won it by beating Napoli 2-1 in the final. Where are Barcelona, you're wondering? Well, they're on the left side of your screen right now. They were knocked out in the round of 16 stage by Mauricio Pochettino's Spurs. Now, no disrespect to Spurs, not at all. They're a great young team with some really, really great young players. They're improving year after year, but they got beat 3-1 over 2 legs. Now, that really shocked me. I mean, again, no disrespect to Spurs, in a few years' time, that could probably happen, but I'm very surprised that did happen in the first season. With this Super Barcelona team, I was thinking, yeah, they'll surely at least get to the semi-finals at the very least. They'll probably end up winning it. That would be fantastic. But no, knocked out in the round of 16 by Spurs. Very interesting. I do not know what happened there. I've got no idea. But also, one thing I don't know what happened as well is that you would have noticed too, Ter Stegen left the club in January. Now, I've had this happen before in one of my Who to Sign For episodes. Someone told me it happens when you're simulating, the player becomes homesick or they just request to leave for whatever reason, and in January they get sold once you're simulating through the month. I had no control over that whatsoever. Again, I don't stop the simulation midway through the season anymore. I just simulate all the way to the end of the season and don't bother checking how things are getting on. I just simulate to the end of the season, and yeah, Ter Stegen left to Man City for, I think it was £32.5 million. So I had no control over that whatsoever. That wasn't a conscious decision. I just came back, noticed that my German goalkeeper was missing, and he was off to the Etihad. Pep, clearly not trusting Bravo in the game either, wanted to buy the other goalkeeper instead. So yeah, Ter Stegen went to the Etihad, and that was quite a surprise for me. So just imagine Ter Stegen still there, and that's what the Barcelona team looks like, with Sillerson would still be the backup goalkeeper. I just didn't know that was going to happen. I had no idea. But still, that will end today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed the tips I gave you in this episode, then please do leave a like, as likes are, of course, very much appreciated, and they really help the channel grow as well. Don't forget to leave me a comment and tell me what team you'd like to see me do next in Who to Sign For series. I really don't mind. I do want to make 1 or 2 more episodes during the week, as it's been a while since I've uploaded this series on a regular basis. So let me know in the comment section down below what players you would like to see, what team you'd like to see me do next and who to sign for series, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.